Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to show you a full breakdown of how I created this stylized wheelbarrow for my stylized farming bag. This is not a full tutorial, but a step-by-step overview of the main process, including modeling, sculpting and texturing. The full creation took me around 13 hours, and if you want to see everything in real time, the complete tutorial is available for channel members. Huge thanks to all the channel members for your support, and let's start! As usual, I started by analyzing my references. For this project, I made a simple sketch to pre-design my wheelbarrow. Based on this sketch, I created a very simple blockout using basic shapes just to get a sense of the proportions and to better understand the parts that are not visible in the sketch due to the perspective. I started by modeling the metal frame of the wheelbarrow using vertices, then I converted them into curves, and after that I added thickness and a subdivision surface modifier and manually adjusted the shape until I got the result I wanted. For the wheel, I started with a simple cylinder, applied a mirror modifier and then separated it into different parts to simulate as planks. After that, I added modifiers like bevel and subdivision surface. I also added some extra pieces to roughly simulate the wheel mechanism, following what I had in my sketch. For the screw, I did the same as in my previous videos. It is just a cylinder with some extrusion to get the shape. Then I duplicated it across the model using Alt+C to create instances, so I only have to work on one and save time. To create the logs, I used cylinders with enough vertices so I could shape them later. This is pretty much the same process I used in the modular crop plot video you saw on my channel recently. For the wooden planks, I started with a plane and added loop cuts to split it into separate planks. Then I gave them some thickness and added bevel and subdivision surface modifier. For the side planks of the wheelbarrow, I followed exactly the same process, and to separate the pieces, you just need to select the face and press P. I made some metal brackets to give more structure to the model and avoid having parts that feel like they are floating. Even though this is a stylized model, it doesn't mean that we have complete freedom to ignore how things work. It is still important to include elements that make sense so the model doesn't feel odd. For the leg support of the wheelbarrow, I followed my sketch and modeled this piece using vertices and then shaped it using the same modifiers as before. The most important thing here was to keep the design consistent with the angles. Since the whole model is slightly tilted, I tried to keep everything aligned with nervy parts to maintain a nice visual balance. I added a small support piece, and besides helping the structure to make more sense, it also helps to improve the visual balance. That area felt too light compared to the rest of the model, so this helped to add some weight, and this is something I already had in mind from this sketch. For the rope, I simply used vertices, converted them into curves, and then adjusted them to create the knots. For the handle straps, I used cylinders and applied a shrink wrap modifier and then added thickness and a subdivision surface modifier. I decided to add 4 of them. And we finished with the modeling part. Now let's move on to some important points of the sculpting process. I started by adding my brush bag. I know that many of you already use it since it helps to save a lot of time when sculpting. You can find the link in the description. To sculpt the screws, I simply use the scrape brush from my pack. You can also use the default one. Just make sure to set the spacing to 1 and the fall off to constant. This screw uses a multi-rest modifier since it is more comfortable to use when working with instances than using the remesh. Well, as usual in my stylized sculpting process, I start by applying scrape brush strokes to all the pieces, both wood and metal, to give them this handcraft worn look. And for the wood, there are many different methods of course, but the easiest one for me is to use the default sharp grease brush. I simply add lines and by inverting the stroke, pressing Ctrl, I create this depth. This also helps to keep consistency with the previous models in my asset pack. I sculpted all the wooden parts of this wheelbarrow in the same way. For the metal, it's basically the same process. I start by applying scrape brush strokes and then I add some extra details using one of the brushes from my pack. If you don't have this brush pack, you can simply use a mask and then move it to create this kind of detail. To create the inner part of the log, I also use the default crease sharp brush. If you want, you can design this in Photoshop for example, and then apply it as a decal brush during the sculpting. I decided to do it by hand and use the same style as in the crop plot video. To sculpt the log, I follow the same process as with the planks, but keeping in mind that this is bark. So the only difference was that I tried to use this sculpting to separate sections of the bark so it looks more like natural bark or layered pieces. And with that we finished the sculpting process. In this case we only had metal and wood, so the workflow is quite repetitive. Now let's move on to the texturing stage. To start the texturing process, the first thing I did was to add an ambient occlusion layer right from the beginning. This helps me to set up the essential layers first so I can get a better preview of the colors I want to use. I also added a baked light and shadow layer. This will blend with the colors we used to create a stylized gradient and avoid a flat look. For this I used the typical light generator. Then I started to add the base colors for the wood, using slightly different tones on some pieces to create something like a bit of variation. Here I added a dark brown color layer to highlight the cavities of the wood, using the curvature generator in cavities mode. Here I did the opposite. Instead of highlighting the cavities, I highlighted the edges using the same method but with a brighter color. Something that I've been doing in all the models of this pack is to add a color layer as a kind of ambient occlusion but painted by hand. This helps me to highlight certain areas and to add shadows, creating more depth. I felt that the separation between the planks was not very clear. It looked like a single large piece. So I decided to add a paint layer and paint these separations by hand to better define the space between each plank. For the metal, I added a dark bluish gray color similar to what I've been using in my previous models for this pack. I also adjusted the roughness and metallic values a bit. I added a layer with a bit of dirt or rust just to create some color variation on the metal and to avoid a flat look. As always, I also add a layer on top with a white color and a slight tint using the divide blending mode. I usually call this layer DV and it helps me to control the exposure and color variation of all the model. I decided to paint some color variation on the metal by hand because I felt that having only two main tones in the model, wood and metal, was not enough, so I needed to add more work to each material to avoid having just two flat materials without variation. For the rope, I only added a base color and a line texture rotated by 45 degrees to create this rope pattern. The most important thing here is to have proper UVs so they follow the flow of the rope. To finish the wood based on my references, I decided to do some extra hand painting work. So I used two tones to add color variation to the wood and another one as a highlight. So I painted all of these by hand because I felt like the wood looked a little bit too flat and monotone. To finish the texturing, I placed everything inside the folder and started to add different filters such as color balance, color correction, sharpen, and contrast. This gives me more control over the final texture and allows me to easily adjust the colors so they stay consistent with the rest of the assets in the asset pack. And that's how I finished the model. I exported the textures back to Blender and finalized everything. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to leave a like, subscribe if you want, and most importantly, a comment really helps me to support the channel. And remember, if you're a channel member, you already have access to the full tutorial in real time with no time lapses. Also, don't forget that my course is available if you want to learn how to create game assets from scratch. Thank you very much for all your support, and I'll see you in the next video.